I hope you've all had a super duper week. I've been so busy catching up with friends and family, and I hope you guys have been too. I'm also so excited to be back learning all about confidence and how we can see ourselves the way that God sees us. But before we get back to that, let's jump into some worship.
You're the reason why our hearts are beating. You're everything we need. You're the reason for the songs we're singing. We sing because we're free. Come on, we'll let it rise up to our God and Savior. Come on, we'll shout it out louder now. We'll sing it out forever. Hear our praise rising up. Whoa, from the hearts of the found. Whoa, we lift a shout to the one who has saved us. What a beautiful sound. Whoa, rising up to you. Rising up to you. To our King who saves, hear our endless praise. Rising up to you. You're the reason why our hearts are beating. You're everything we need. You're the reason for the songs we're singing. We sing because we're free. Come on, we'll let it rise up to our God and Savior. Come on, we'll shout it out louder now. We'll sing it out forever. Hear our praise rising up. Whoa, from the hearts of the found. Whoa, we lift a shout to the one who has saved us. What a beautiful sound. Whoa, rising up to you. Rising up to you. To our King who saves, hear our endless praise. Rising up to you. Come on. Hey, rising up, getting louder now.
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 Hear our praise rising up from the hearts of the found. We lift a shout to the one who has saved us. What a beautiful sound. Rising up to you. We're rising up to you. To our King who saves, hear our endless praise. Rising up to you. We're rising up to you.
Hey everyone, and this is Game Time. I'm Andrew. Thanks for joining us, and I've got Bailey and Ella joining us as well. And today, what are we going to play? Peg game. We're going to play the peg game. Really easy. You're going to have 30 seconds. All you need to do is peg as many pegs onto you as you can in 30 seconds.
Easy.
Pretty easy?
Yeah.
Ready to go? Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh, sorry. Oh, that was a shame. While you're doing this, I'm going to unpeg some off me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a very slow game. Oh my goodness. Bailey's just doing like one
sleeve.
arm. Ella's got a good technique that she's actually a lot closer to the pegs. Just a free hint there.
Oh no.
3, 2, 1, and stop. No, you can't use that one.
Okay.
No. Quickly count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. About that. 2, 4, 6, 8. Nowhere near it. Okay. Ella, well, don't take them off. That looks great.
Oh,
I
sorry,
think.
yeah, I keep
Yeah,
that.
no, leave them on.
Yeah.
That was pretty easy. Bailey, I
Yeah.
feel like you didn't try. So we're going to play that
I
again.
mean-
We want full effort this
Yeah.
time, okay?
Okay.
This time though, it's got to be on your face.
Okay.
Not the hair.
Not the hair.
Not the hair, no, because
Okay.
that's
That,
cheating.
that is,
Yeah.
unfair
100%
advantage.
cheating.
Face
Yeah.
only. It's got to be skin, ears, nose, lips, cheek. I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
Ready? Go. Right now, they're going to be feeling some pain. We're not all about pain here, but wow, Ella is going. She really wants to win. Bailey's decided he better get a move on for once. This is good, Bailey. It's about time that we.
I feel like I
gotta
should probably
move on.
start out. Start trying.
Start owing,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too. 5 seconds left, guys. 3, 2, 1, and stop. I think you gave up then.
I did.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Oh.
4. Oh, Bailey this time comes in.
Ah.
Wow, that's awesome. We're going to need a quick tiebreaker. Ready, set. How many can you put on your nose in 5 seconds? Ready, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Bailey wins. Yeah, well done.
Ow.
Well done. Hey, Bailey and I, thanks for helping us out on Game Time. We'll see you next time.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of Judges, chapters 6 through 8.
As many times before, the Israelites turned away from God. He allowed the Midianites to take over their land. God's people hid out in caves. When they tried to grow plants or tend to livestock, the Midianites would show up and destroy their crops and animals. At last, the Israelites cried out to God for help. He heard them and sent the angel of the Lord to a man named Gideon, who was threshing grain in a winepress.
Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you.
All Gideon could do for a moment was stop and stare.
Pardon me, sir. You said the Lord is with us? Then why has all this happened? The Lord has deserted us.
You are strong. Go and save Israel from the power of Midian. I am sending you.
Pardon me, sir, but how can I possibly save Israel? My family is the weakest in the tribe, and I'm the least important member.
I will be with you.
Even with a direct message from the Lord, Gideon was still nervous about the whole thing.
Give me a special sign. Then I'll know it's really you talking to me.
So God gave Gideon a sign, sending fire to burn up meat and bread. God's spirit was with Gideon, and when the Midianites and the Amalekites gathered to attack, Gideon sounded a trumpet for the Israelites to follow him. But even as the army gathered, Gideon once again pleaded to God for another sign. God responded by letting dew fall on a fleece, and then on the next day, only on the ground surrounding it.
Okay, I've got it. Thank you.
At last, Gideon was convinced God wanted to use him. He camped with 32,000 men at the spring of Harod and prepared for battle. Here, God spoke again.
I want to hand Midian over to you, but you have too many men.
Too many?
Israel might brag, my own strength has saved me. Announce to the army, those who tremble with fear can turn back.
Gideon did just as the Lord instructed.
There, Lord. 22,000 men have gone home. Only 10,000 left to fight.
There are still too many men.
Have you seen the Midianite army?
Take the men down to the water. There I will reduce the number of them for you.
Even though it must have worried Gideon to lose more of his army, he did just as the Lord said.
Field trip to the lake, everyone.
At the water's edge, the Lord said,
Some men will drink the way dogs do. They will lap up the water with their tongues. Separate them from those who get down on their knees to drink.
Gideon watched carefully. Most men got on their knees and drank directly from the water, but 300 men cupped the water in their hands and lifted them to their mouths to lap.
So, God, I send those 300 men home and keep the other 9,700, right?
With the help of the 300 men who lapped up the water, I will save you. Let all the other men go home.
Oh. Okay. Yes.
Gideon sent home every single person in the army except those 300 men.
Get some sleep. Tomorrow we will figure out what's next.
That night, the Lord spoke to Gideon once more.
Get up.
What? Oh, I'm awake.
Gideon stumbled out of his tent. Below, the campfires and torches of the enemy armies covered the entire valley.
So many. Like a swarm of locusts.
Go down to the camp. Listen to what they are saying. After that, you will not be afraid to attack.
Wondering if he might be dreaming, Gideon snuck down the mountain to hover in the shadows at the edge of the camp. He could hear voices from a nearby tent.
I had a dream. A round loaf of barley bread came rolling into the camp. It hit the tent with great force and knocked it flat.
Wow, but that can only be the sword of Gideon from Israel. God has given him the whole camp.
Gideon listened in shock.
Wow, God. Thank you.
At once, Gideon scrambled back up the hill to the Israelite camp.
Get up! Get up! The Lord has handed the Midianites over to you.
Quickly, Gideon separated the 300 men into 3 groups and handed each one a trumpet and a clay jar with a torch inside.
Watch me. Do what I do. I'll go to the edge of the enemy camp. Then we'll blow our trumpets from all around the camp and shout, "For the Lord and for Gideon!"
Gideon and his men headed quietly down the slope, fanning out in groups to surround the vast enemy camp.
Okay, get ready.
As soon as Gideon sounded his trumpet, he smashed his jar so the torch shone brightly. The other 300 men did the same.
For the Lord! A sword for the Lord! Gideon!
The Israelites held their ground, but their enemies panicked, confused by the trumpets and bright lights that pierced the dark night.
They're coming from everywhere!
The enemy armies were so confused, they began to fight each other, and then they fled in fear.
After the men!
Gideon and the Israelites chased their enemies all the way to the Jordan River and beyond until all the enemy armies were destroyed. The Israelites begged Gideon to rule over them.
I will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you.
Yep, Gideon was an underdog, filled with doubt, but he still chose to follow God, and God used him to save the Israelites.
Wow, that is such an inspiring story. Can you imagine? Gideon, he was not very old at all, and he was asked to free the Israelites, free those people from the Midianites. Now that's a massive task. That was a big ask for Gideon, and rightly so. He was really nervous. He was not feeling very confident about things at all. He had a lot of doubts in his mind. And so he asked God to help him, to help remove those doubts from his mind, and God delivered. And because of that, Gideon was able to have the confidence to free the Israelites, to do what he was asked to do, because God was with him all the way. There's a great verse in the book of Judges about a time that Gideon talks to an angel of God about all the worries in his mind and asks him to help clear all the doubts in his mind. And so I'm going to read that to you now. It's from Judges chapter 6, verses 13 to 14. Let me read it. "Pardon me, my Lord, but if the Lord is with us, why has all of this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about?" So Gideon, he came to God with all these questions in his mind and all these doubts that he wanted God to get rid of so that he could do what God had asked him to do. And in response, God said this. Let's have a read. "The Lord turned to him and said, 'Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?'" How cool is that? Through God's Holy Spirit, Gideon was equipped to do what God had asked him to do. Gideon was able to draw confidence from that and free Israel from the Midianites. And that same power, that same confidence that Gideon was able to draw on from God, we can do that today in our own lives. Now, we might not be able to save a nation, or we might not be asked to save a nation from Midianites or these really terrifying enemy. But what we can do some smaller, simpler things on a day-to-day basis. It could be showing joy, showing love to the people in our lives, having confidence to do that, and brightening their day, making their day a whole lot better. Through the amazing story of Gideon, I noticed that our confidence grows when we have something or someone backing us up. And the amazing thing about God is that He's always going to be there to back us up and fill us with His confidence. Now, in a moment, we're going to explore some ways that we can draw confidence from God. But before we do that, I have a question for you guys that I want you guys to chat about in your families. It's going to come up on the screen in a moment. But essentially, it says, what can we do when we feel that we need to do something good, but we don't feel like we're up to the task? Let's chat about that now. The first thing that I love to do is to remember all the times that God was there for me and all the gifts that He's given me to help me deal with the situations that I encounter. And to help you guys think of some of those things as well, we're going to play a bit of a game or do a bit of an activity together in our families. And so the first thing that I want you guys to do is to brainstorm some of the gifts that God has given you individually, all the different people in your family. What are some gifts that God has given you in life? Some of the talents maybe that help you in different situations. And then you're going to think of some of the ways that you can use those gifts, right? So what is a gift and how can you use that in your life to maybe show confidence? And then once you've got those two sets of ideas, you're going to write them on each individual pieces of paper, on little cards maybe. You're going to write them down. So you're going to write the situation on one, you're going to write the gift on the other, and then you're going to repeat that for all the different ideas you have. Now once you have all those cards, all those pairs, you're going to flip them over on the floor, on the table, shuffle them around, and then you're going to play the game. Try and match the situation to the gift. Flip them over, try and do that until all the pairs have been taken, have been found by each person of the family. So, I want you guys to grab some piece of paper, brainstorm some of the gifts that God has given you, some situations that you can use them in, and then play that game together. Now that we've had a chance to explore some of the different gifts we have and how we can use them in our lives, I've got a question for you. How can God use you to serve other people? Let's have a chat about that now in our families. That is such an amazing question to explore because when we seek God, there are so many different ways that He'll use us to bless the people around us. And now I want to explore that a little bit more. Explore how God can use us to bless others, and we're going to do that by doing a bit of a self-portrait. Might not make sense right now, but I'm going to explain it and it's going to be awesome. So first I want you guys to get a blank paper plate, a white paper plate if you have one, or you can get a piece of paper and cut a circle in it. And then I want you to draw the best portrait that you possibly can. And then the first thing you want to do, once you've done that, is near the eyes, I want you to write something that you see that can boost your confidence. Alright, now that we've done the eyes, onto the ears. I want you guys to write next to the ears something that you've heard, maybe from God, from your parents, from your small group leaders, that has actually boosted your confidence. And now finally, under the mouth, I want you guys to write something that you can say to someone else, to other people, that can help boost their faith and their confidence in Jesus. Now that you've done that, I want you guys to hang your amazing self-portrait somewhere that you can see it, on your fridge, in your room, put it on your desk, anywhere that can help remind you where you get your confidence from and how you can give confidence to other people by the way you live your life. And that's awesome. And so today we looked at the story of Gideon and how he drew confidence from God to do a massive task, and you guys can do the same thing. God has given us so many gifts and so many ways that we can get over the obstacles by getting all the confidence we can from God and fulfilling His plan for us. And so that's what we looked at today. I hope you guys learned something awesome from that, and hopefully you guys can go into your weeks reminded that we can get our confidence from God. Alright, let's talk to God now and thank Him for how He made you. I want you to grab your self-portrait, hold it in your arms, in your hands, as you pray. And when you pray, I want you to think of 5 different things that fills you with confidence. Things about yourself that you really love about yourself. It could be some of your talents, it could be some of your skills, some of the things that you're really good at school or at sport or whatever it is that fills you with confidence that you're really proud of. Thank God for those 5 things. And then pray to Him and ask Him to help show that confidence in your life and help others have confidence in themselves and in their faith as well. So let's pray now together. You can pause the video as you pray.
Wow, that was so great to reflect on all of the gifts and talents that God has given us, and it's great to thank Him for it too. Thank you so much for joining us this week at Crossway Kids Online. It has been so much fun. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye!